But people want to do the sprint. They want to wave the magic wand and be a millionaire next week, or buy a 100-unit apartment complex in their first deal, because they think apartment buildings are just ATM machines that spit out checks for $1 million. They're not. That's not how it goes. Maybe if you get lucky when you sell it, as you said, but it's really about making the right consistent choice and the right consistent decisions through the life of the asset, and repeatability, as I said, to get that check way in the future.
Your network is your net worth. Come listen to some of the most successful people I know share invaluable knowledge, stories, and advice in real estate, business, and beyond. This is Weiss Advice. Whether you want to take your business or personal life to the next level, look no further. Welcome back to Weiss Advice. I am your host, Yona Weiss, and with me today, I have the pleasure of speaking with the one and only Matt Faircloth. How you doing, Matt?
I'm awesome, Yona. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, the pleasure is really all mine. I mean, that's the truth. Just you guys, everyone knows Matt Faircloth. I mean, when you've been on the BiggerPockets podcast 3 times, I mean, you're like an elite group. I mean, that's pretty awesome because everyone loves BiggerPockets.
Thank you. Yeah. And I'm lucky enough to be in the trust circle with BiggerPockets, where I do a lot of contribution for them. I've shot a lot of videos for them. I do a weekly, you're going to be on it, a weekly Facebook Live thing. Remember?
Right.
I hope that's in your
yes.
in your calendar.
Let's do that. I got to make sure that's on my calendar.
Yeah, you're gonna put it on your calendar. But yeah, you're going to be live. I don't know if this will go out before August 10th.
2022. No, we're
2020.
Okay.
August 10th, 2020.
Right.
But yeah, you're going to be Facebook Live. So yeah, I do a lot for BP.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and they're incredible. You guys know BiggerPockets, and you published a book through BiggerPockets, Raising Private Capital, which you can see right in the background if you're watching the video over here. Yeah. He's the co-founder of DeRosa Group, right? Which they buy multifamily properties. Currently has over 800 units under management, and he's very, very active. So raising private capital is all about really just your experience of raising private capital, using other people's money to invest in real estate, and through a lot of different transactions that you've done over the past, close to 20 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've found a way to create win-win relationships with private money people. I hate the term OPM. I mean, but I do. It's in, it's in the subtitle there, because people get it. But I mean, it sounds, OPM kind of sounds like not your responsibility. Oh, it's theirs or whatever. But Raising Private Capital talks about how to create win-win relationships where you're really the custodian of that money and you're really in charge of that money while it's active in your business and that. And it's even a higher responsibility because it really becomes even more important than your money. It's other people's money. So it's such a high regard that you want to make sure that it gets put in the right place. You want to make sure that it gets returned properly, make sure that the ROI is there for them. And that it gets, properly cared for while it's involved in your deal. And Raising Private Capital is a lot of personal stories of just experiences I had in the beginning and as we scaled up through raising money. And it's real, and it's not hokey. It's somewhat of a how-to book. It's like a how-to with a lot of personal stories woven into it.
Right. And I'm looking forward to reading it as well, which I haven't done yet, but I have a huge list, on my queue, but we'll get to it. What I love about the multifamily industry, and obviously you're deeply involved in the whole BiggerPockets community and the larger multifamily, all these events and podcasts and all that stuff, is that it's a people business. And I think when you're dealing with investors and private capital, it's the people business also, because people are investing with you, not necessarily the deal. Would you find that accurate?
It's really less about the deal. It really becomes all about the operator. As a matter of fact, I talk about in Raising Private Capital about when you first get started, you might have to get people that like and trust you because you're you, versus people that are just so excited about investing in real estate, And I think it's important to understand the delineation. It's not like they don't want a return on their money. It's not like they don't, want their money back or whatever. They do. But people invest with people, I had a good friend say, it's not about the name on the top of the card. It's about the name in the middle of the card on a business card, right? So it's not about the company you're with. It's about who you are. And I think that people just wanted to like and trust the people, and the deal is secondary. And those that are out there touting, 15% IRR or whatever, yeah, that's all well and good. But, anybody could put that on a piece of paper. You have to believe the person that's saying it,
Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you, obviously that comes with experience maybe, but for someone who's starting out and, not everyone's doing that. You mentioned just a minute ago that it's people when you're starting out, are investing with you as a person, yes, because they trust you. Like, how do you go ahead and, make that shift from someone who's just a likable, trustworthy, like nice person, and now going to my friends and family and acquaintances and saying, hey, guess what? I'm also now getting involved in real estate, right? And I'm trying to raise some capital. Would you be interested in, like, how do you make that transition? That it's like, yeah, they like you, but are they going to trust you with?
Well, you don't, first of all, you can't be slimy about it, and you can't like, hey, let me, have I got a deal for you? You want to do that. You want to just authentically, like, let's just say the person you're talking to is Uncle Charlie, you say, Uncle Charlie.
I actually have an Uncle Charlie.
Do you really? Yeah. I used to, but him and my aunt got divorced, so he's not my Uncle Charlie anymore. Now he's just Charlie. Yeah, right. Anyway, let's just say you're talking to Charlie, whether he's your uncle in your circumstance or your ex-uncle, like it was for me, and you're talking to Charlie, and you say, this real estate thing's really exciting. I'm getting into it, and this is like, you're not at the level of someone that's been doing this for a while. You're just getting started. You just tell Charlie about how exciting real estate is and how excited you are about it. Just bring it up in conversation, and just say, listen, I work with people that want to invest passively, and I've learned how to invest through people's retirement accounts. I've learned how to invest cash or real estate equity. I've learned all this stuff. If you're ever interested, if you ever want to diversify, just tell me, and leave it. And not like, don't try like, hey, what do I got to do to set an appointment? How do I, just leave it. Because sometimes these things go off like hand grenades, you throw it out there, and 2 weeks later, Charlie comes back to you and says, hey, I remember we were talking about that real estate thing. I was thinking about it, and I got like all this, like, $500,000 sitting in my IRA account. And it's just sitting there doing nothing. And it's just, I want to put it into a thing. And so there you go. Right now you got a conversation. Secondly, anytime anyone asks you, how's work or what do you do for a living? Your new answer is, I invest in real estate and it's going great. Whatever your profession is, cost seg, whatever, school teacher, fireman, whatever. You want to tell people that you're a rising real estate investor, because they rarely will change the conversation when you do that. Those are two little tips to bring it up. Now, there's a ton more in raising private capital and how you draw people in to talk to you. I suggest doing a newsletter database and putting stuff out on social media, not solicitations for deals, just, hey guys, look at this multifamily I'm looking at today. I almost bought that single family home. What do you guys think of it? Or should I paint this wall blue or yellow in my rental property?
Right.
It's
sharing the journey, right? Just sharing your story and how you're going through. People just start correlating, that now you're in real estate, and they start recognizing that.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
That's it. That's all you got to do, is just show your path, show your trajectory. People are curious about alternative lifestyles, alternative business strategies, alternative ways to make money. And if you just follow yourself around with a cell phone, that's how my YouTube channel got started, by the way. If you just follow yourself around with a cell phone, like, hey, listen, let's just document. Look what I'm doing. People are intrigued by it. People want the story. People want the, and that eventually turns into investors. But also, just really, your goal as a new investor is to make people aware in your circle that you're investing in real estate, and people can do it passively with you.
Right.
That's it. Just awareness.
Yeah. Awareness. Absolutely. And it's just putting out there, and you're putting yourself out there a lot. Are you finding, like, the YouTube channel specifically, because you brought that up, is that actually bringing directly investors to you, have you found? Or is that just, kind of,
Well, it's two things. Okay. When I talk to a new investor, they'll be like, oh, I heard you on so-and-so's podcast, or a lot of time my cousin invests with you. It's a lot of referrals. And then what they'll say is, and then I Googled you, and then when I Googled you, all this YouTube stuff came up, and I watched a few of your YouTube videos, and that taught me a lot about you, and I got to know you on your YouTube channel and everything like that. So that's what the best part about YouTube is it makes you Googleable. And so when a prospective investor wants to research you, what are they going to do? They're going to Google you, you know? That's just what they do.
What people do.
And if you got a lot of content on Google, you and I were talking about this before the show starts. Google owns YouTube. And so they're gonna show you YouTube videos that are in line with what you've searched, because it just benefits them to do so. And also it's easy content that they have access to. There you go. I know that guy, Matt Faircloth. There he is, or Yona Weiss or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I think YouTube's great.
That makes a lot of sense. It's very easy, especially when they're small consumable pieces, where people can, or long form. I mean, it is great also, but people, they check it out and they can easily find about any topic, and then they can just know, what you're up to and how you're working. And that's much better way to learn about you than you trying to pitch people. So you have the content and the, the social media presence is out there for a reason, because that's working for you on your behalf. Like people are talking about you when you're not even around because they found you.
Yeah. And it's a good way to get to know you without you having to, be there to teach it. And our YouTube channel is like 99.99999% education. And just like I said, just documenting the path of a real estate investor. And people submit questions to us and I answer them on the air. Pretty basic stuff, right? And so that's how we built out our YouTube channel, but it also shows that transparency that we want to have for our investors too.
Right. So for just curious about the Facebook Live thing that you're doing now with BiggerPockets, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
I just want to prep myself for that also next week. How did you get into that, and how do you pick the topics to what you do every week, or
okay, BiggerPockets is, they're just trying to continue to find other ways to reach their base in that. And there's obviously the podcast, then there's the books. And then just they've been going live on Facebook until just recently they started doing it, because they had this Facebook page that gets a lot of action. There's like 600,000 or 700,000 members of it. And that, so it's like, well, let's try on this live thing and see if people will watch. And it did well, And so they went to us, they're contributors. I've been writing articles for them for, it's up around 7 years or so. I've been doing that. And so they've gone to folks that are loyal and been contributing to them for a long time, like myself and like many other people. And, I'm, blessed enough to be good on camera. And so I just like, I'll do it. Sure. It'd be fun. And you just kind of, YouTube, Facebook living is an interesting phenomenon, because what you got to do is you got to start out talking to yourself or talking to your guest and having a conversation here. But then if you're lucky, what'll happen is about halfway through the conversation, the audience starts talking to you, right? If you can encourage them to do it, and the magic is that you'll know you're doing it right when you start seeing them typing and questioning, like, hey, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? And the conversation goes from you talking to just a camera, teaching a point, or me talking to Yona or whatever, to you and I talking to them. And the coolest part about it is, like, what if we could do your podcast in front of a live studio audience right now? Of all, let's say if I could fill up a stadium of 1,000 real estate investors, and you and I could just pop up and be doing a show right there. And they were doing something else a second ago, but all of a sudden, oh shit, there's Matt and Yona, right? Let me ask Matt and Yona a question, right? That's kind of how it goes. And before you know it, you got all these people that are talking to you and watching you. There's such cool engagement and magic of the internet that all of a sudden so last Monday, I was going back and forth with the guy in Finland on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Not writing on Facebook. I'm talking, he's typing and replying to me on the Facebook Live on BiggerPockets.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's very cool. And I love
that's why
that
I like
analogy, because it really is. It's just like, especially when you have a page like BiggerPockets, that you have this audience, you have the audience there. But this holds true with anything. I could just do this live, right? And I've seen people doing podcasts. They do the Facebook Live with the podcast. I don't know if I would get as much out of it, because I have, a few people that are. You're
like Mr. LinkedIn dude, man. Like every LinkedIn comment that I've seen other people make, they'll get like 2 likes and 1 comment, and the 1 comment's from their brother, right? You do a post and you get 200 likes and 47 comments, one post, you know? And I'm like, how did you're like, you figured out whatever, if there is a secret sauce of LinkedIn, you have figured it out.
Yeah.
Then I commend you for that. But I believe LinkedIn now has a live video function. And so you should be Mr. LinkedIn live video, because LinkedIn's becoming a new social channel. It's overtaking a lot of the other channels like Facebook and stuff like that. It's not the LinkedIn where you went to find a job 10 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's really where I came back to it a few years ago when it changed and started making that switch, and that just I went all in on it. But it's interesting you say that it's still beta. It's been beta since they launched it about a year ago or a year and a half ago, and I've applied like 3 times already to get it. And so
I applied and never heard anything.
Yeah,
I applied and they were like, "We'll get back to you," and then I was like, "Oh, okay, great."
Thanks. I know. So I think I might apply again soon, but it's something that it's a great idea, and I think it'd be great. But
it's cool.
It's try to figure out the other things that work also.
You could do so. There's a software called StreamYard that allows you to talk to multiple media channels all at once. There's other things that have tried this, but they're super clunky and they crash and all that. StreamYard is so elegant. Somebody wicked smart programmed it and wrote it and all that. StreamYard, I've never had it crash on me. It talks to Facebook. So you can go live on Facebook over here. And then you can go live on YouTube and live on LinkedIn if they ever let you do it. Live on LinkedIn, live on other channels that you may have or other outlets that are subs. And I'm not really into anything else, but you can go live on other stuff in one simultaneously, right? So while people are watching me on Facebook, what the wackiness is, you can be live on Facebook and have somebody leave a comment, and then right below that comment comes a comment from somebody on YouTube at the same time. That's so cool. It's like running a freaking TV show. It really is. Like they're leaving comments. And
I feel like you need once you get at that point, you need like assistants, and you need someone else helping you, man that type of content. I watch sometimes Gary Vee does the his show, and he's got
a whole army,
an whole team doing.
He's got the whole army. I listen to him. I listen to the Tea with Gary Vee thing when I'm out for a run. I'll listen to Tea with Gary Vee. And he'll be talking to his guy over here and you're like, hey, can you put that in the other thing? You do need a team. For managing that much content, you do need a team.
Absolutely. And some people are surprised, like, how can someone do that much and put out that much content? When you have a team, and people working on it, it's not so hard.
He's next level. He's not even next level. He's like 10x level, right?
Yeah, way beyond.
Because he's got so much social content followers. But you don't have to have 10 or 30,000 people watching your streams at a given time. You could have 10 people watching it, man. It doesn't matter. I mean, but the key that I've found to content is repeatability. Just doing it over and over and over again. That's how I built my YouTube channel. We now have 25,000 subscribers on our YouTube page.
That's awesome.
I got there through 5 years of it, and just by grinding it out, posting 2 videos a week. I forget the last time I didn't post 2 videos a week. It's just every week. Boom, 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 boom. And I did it myself for a very long time. I now have a content manager, but that's a new thing. I was doing it myself for years. Yeah.
And that really just, speaks to the point. And this has a lot to do with real estate also. It's a long game, right?
It is.
You're not building wealth. And it sounds like, raising private capital, I'm going to raise $1 million and I'm going to be a millionaire. No. It's, you're investing in a multifamily building that you're going to be owning for, 3, 5, 10 years. And you may not see the real returns on that investment until you sell it, until you exit that.
You may not. Yeah, it is the long game. And I find that folks don't get, people want to run the real estate sprint. This would be a good book. You should write this, like the real estate sprint versus the real estate marathon, but people want to do the sprint. They want to wave the magic wand and be a millionaire next week, or buy a 100-unit apartment complex in their first deal, because they think apartment buildings are just ATM machines that spit out checks for $1 million. They're not. That's not how it goes. Maybe if you get lucky when you sell it, as you said, but it's really about making the right consistent choice and the right consistent decisions through the life of the asset, and repeatability, as I said, to get that check way in the future.
And that holds true with, like I said, the analogy, and it holds true with the content creation also. I mean, doing BiggerPockets articles for 7 years or so until now you have something else, another channel, another way, an avenue.
Well, my wife and I started writing articles for them in like 2013, 14, something like that. I wrote articles for them every week for a year. Wow. Every week. Did not miss a week. Just boom, 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 boom. And eventually I started getting reached like, hey, I read your article on BiggerPockets. And, you did get reach outs from that, but it wasn't like first article, 7,000 people calling you wanting to invest with you. No. First article, crickets. Second article, crickets. Third article, crickets. Like 15th article, maybe you get a phone call. But then a year in, Liz and I got a call on a Sunday night. She got a call on her cell phone, and it's Mendy Jensen. And it was like, hey, we just had our guest canceled on Monday. Would you like to go, or for the BiggerPockets podcast, would you and your husband want to go on the BiggerPockets podcast? And we're like, yes, so yes, we'll do it. And we had a 6-month-old at the time. And if you listen to episode 88 on the BiggerPockets podcast, you can hear a kid crying in the background. And it's my son, who's now 6. You can hear him like 4 or 6 months old in the other room with my office manager at my office. She came to my office, and my office manager hung out with him in the other room, right, and watched him while Liz and I were on the show. But it takes consistency, and then at some point that spotlight will shine on you. And when it does, if you're ready, you can jump on it. If you're not, but when the spotlight hits you, if you're ready for it, off you go.
That's awesome. And that's excellent advice, for anyone listening here that is, just considering real estate and thinking about like how to get involved. It's not an overnight thing. It's not an overnight success. It's putting in the long hours and making a plan that how am I going to do something consistently for the next year or two, right? And, we'll track the results and we'll see how it's going, but don't necessarily expect anything, quickly from that. So I think that's excellent perspective.
We live in a right now economy, man, and partly because of these lovely things right here that I can have whatever I want right now. But life, unfortunately, does not function like a cell phone. Life does not deliver everything right now. I can't just go to my life and say, hey, Siri, tell me how tall Kilimanjaro is. Life doesn't have answers and things like that. And unfortunately, life is a long game. And data and the world we live in has taught us to have everything we want immediately, but you still got to learn to live long,
Sure. But I think it's really the choices that you make, consistently and the actions you take consistently that will dictate eventually, what that long game is going to be.
Yeah, it is every day.
The game of life. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Matt, I'd love to jump right into the final 4 over here.
Let's go
and see where it's going to take us. First question, we ask 4 questions to our guests at the end of every episode. And the first question we always ask is, what is the worst job that you ever had?
Oh, man. I got so many. I got to pick one. Okay. This is the best. Yeah, this is a good one. I've had some crummy jobs. But the worst one that was demeaning that I was like, what am I doing this? Is I sold imitation perfume and cologne for this guy that was like, had an ad in the magazine, an ad in newspaper. It was like sales jobs managers wanted. So I go to this thing, and it was like an Amway-esque kind of thing. And they were selling like, knockoff bottles of CK1 or whatever, for $20. And you had to go sell them on the street to like guys, just ordinary citizens going about their day, pumping gas. To go to them and, hey, let me ask you a crazy question. What kind of perfume and cologne do you like? And you try and get them to give you $20 for imitation knockoff perfume and cologne.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I lasted like a week in that, but it was nuts.
I don't know how that can be a viable business. I mean,
if you got enough people that are willing to just make commission, that are willing to just make commission for doing it. I mean, I swear he had a room full of people. He had 100 people in the room that were there to be a manager,
wow.
And that, so to learn how to do this thing. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's crazy. And I can see pretty easily why that was the worst, if you had to choose from a list.
I got other ones too, but not like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to, to oppress you too much going down memory lane about that. But
no, I know. I'm breaking to tears.
What second question, what if there's a book that you've read that's given you a paradigm shift? So I'm looking for something, not just any book, but something that's totally changed your viewpoint on something.
Absolutely. I'll go a little deep on you, man. I'll go deep with you, brother. I used to be pretty much an atheist. I was raised going to a Christian church and stuff like that as a kid. But in 20 years old, doing another crummy job, selling. Actually, this is not bad. You just get a tan all day. I was selling corn and produce out of the back of a pickup truck for a local farmer. And you just park the truck on the side of the road where he told you to park it, and people would pull up and buy dozens of ears of corn from you. But there was a lot of times you just sit and do nothing and sit and read, sit out in the sun or whatever. So I read a book that my mother put in my hands called Conversations with God. And it is a phenomenal book. And it's not a Christian book. It's not any kind of theology book. But it opened up my mind to higher power, to the possibility that there is a thing or a higher power that's over me, that I have a close relationship with, whether I like it or not. And that I own that relationship. And so Conversations with God is an incredible book, and it brought me to tears many times and taught me and opened up my eyes to my spiritual self.
Amazing. I've never even heard of that book, but it sounds like
incredible book.
Sounds incredible. And I think you're just the premise that, there is a higher power, whatever people call it or whatever, many different things. And some people call it the universe or the this or whatever they want. But that understanding that, I wasn't made out of thin air, and that there's a creator, and that there's a greater plan to life.
It gave me a lot of comfort to know that I was a little dot as part of a bigger plan. And that no matter what happens in life, you're going to be okay. That gave me that level of like, oh, okay. So it took a lot of pressure off myself and a lot of purpose too. And it's a phenomenal book.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. The third question I like to ask is, what is a skill or talent that you would like to learn?
I got two, and I'll just cheat on you, and I'll throw two out there. I'd love to really eloquently speak another language, which I don't. I used to speak French when I was a kid because I took French in school, and I could speak it as fast as I'm speaking this right now, but I lost it. I'd love to speak I'd pick it Spanish, Mandarin, or Italian, if I could pick one of the three. So that's one talent I'd love to have that I don't have. And as yet another thing I did as a kid, I spoke some French, and I also played the piano as a kid. And I'm talking 11, 12 years old. And I just gave it up. My mother said, "Hey, just so you know, son, you're getting old enough that if you want to stop, you can stop. If you want to keep going, I'll keep paying for those lessons. But I'm giving you the option to stop right now." And I took the option. I took the stop. And I now see people that I know that are our age that are playing instruments, and it's just such a talent that many people get rid of. That maybe like 1% of our population in their 30s and 40s play an instrument, and those that do are just like, it's so cool. You can just sit in front of a piano and play something. So if I wish I knew how to play the piano, still I've lost that also.
That's amazing. So it's really interesting because the two most common answers I get on this question, and we've asked this question, probably about 30, 40 times already, are a language and a musical instrument, which is really
Isn't that funny?
That is, it is. And I find, why I find that interesting is because the similarity between music and language is, music is really a language, if you think about it. And both of them kind of expand our minds, and our experiences, because every language, and just like music is a language, every language is really there's a whole culture built into a language. And so to really speak a language, everyone knows this, to really learn how to speak a language, you have to kind of immerse yourself. Right? And speaking it. And when you're immersing yourself in speaking it, you're speaking it with people who are fluent, people who are, speaking it first.
You got to go
immerses
there.
You, exactly. And that immerses you in the culture. And you have totally different life experiences through that. And that to me is just amazing, because it just shows that kind of curiosity in people, that you want to find out more about this world, this great world around us.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I agree, and I think that in some ways language is music too, because I hear other people speaking a language that I don't understand, that it kind of some ways kind of seems like they're singing a song when you hear them. It's, you know, it's just interesting, just communications, and I think that language and music are two things, and not to go too far on one side, but our world has lost understanding of just the general overall humanness of all of us, and to get back to seeing, you know, deity in each other and to seeing uniquenesses in each other, things like language and music can help dissolve those boundaries, getting away from politics and beliefs and things like that, and just seeing the other person sitting across from you as another human. Above all that, language and music, I think, are the two things that help dissolve those boundaries.
That's a great insight to that. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So fourth and final question is, what does success mean to you?
Oh boy. Let's see. Bank balance would be, no, I'm kidding.
No,
like investing or working for money for a bank balance or for dollars in the bank is complete garbage. Success means to me living life on my own terms and being able to do what I want with the one limited resource that I have in my life, which is time. So choosing to do what I want with my time and having the resources to, like, you know what, I'm going to take my 6-year-old for a hike today, or I'm going to take him to the beach, or take him to go ride a roller coaster, take him to something that cost me some money. But to me, success is being able to have the time and the money to do what I want when I want to do it. And it doesn't necessarily mean driving Lamborghinis or doing any of the fancy stuff. It just means living life the way I want. And that might mean giving back to other people. That might mean hanging out with my family. That might mean doing some lavish things. But it also might mean just, you know, this isn't me, but if you wanted to sleep till 10 a.m., I can do that. That's success. If I know I can sleep till 6 a.m. and not have any financial repercussions of me doing that, then just owning my life fully, that's success.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful answer. And Matt, we've already covered this a bunch in our discussion, but we always ask, you know, where can people find you and reach out to you?
Yeah. Well, they can go. Well, I don't know if we mentioned this. I mean, they can obviously, you know, contact me and hear a lot, see a lot of the hard work that I've done at BiggerPockets. But my company, I'm actually not a BiggerPockets employee, as some people think. I'm just a BiggerPockets contributor. My company is called the DeRosa Group, DeRosa, and they can simply go to DeRosaGroup.com and learn how to, if you're an accredited investor, how to invest with us. If you are a student of real estate and want to build an awesome real estate brand, you can learn how to join our groups. And also, if they want, I put together a thank you for folks that listen to these kinds of shows and stuff like that. So if they just want to text my company name, DeRosa, DeRosa, to the number 66866. Just put 66866 on your phone and put in the word DeRosa. There's a gargantuan basket of free stuff. No pay money. Just here's a bunch of free stuff. You guys can get that, and you do get the option to join our online community. But you don't have to do that. Just take the free stuff. And if you want to join our online community, you can do that too.
Awesome.
But we're easy to find by obviously because of Google. Thank you, Google.
Yes.
You know.
That's right. And thank you, Matt Faircloth, for taking the time. And I appreciate you and appreciate the time you spent with me today. And thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. And to our listeners, once again, thanks for joining us. I hope you got a lot of value out of this episode. I know I did. And remember, the best advice comes only when you ask. Real quick, I have one question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask you a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message to the whole world is that if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this podcast is out on is that you like my stuff and I'm doing something right. So take a few seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating or review. I would be extremely grateful. Also, I want to hear from you guys. So I want to hear some feedback. If you have any questions for future episodes, please find me on LinkedIn. Send me a DM, a connection request, Yona Weiss, and I'd love to hear from you.